Wenn ihr schon mal mit dem Gedanken gespielt habt, in Dubai-Immobilien zu investieren, dann solltet ihr jetzt zuhören. Herzlich willkommen auf dem YouTube-Kanal Dubai Recht Klar mit Deria und Omar. Heute nicht mit Deria, sondern mit meinem Kollegen Sebastian, der ja auch schon bekannt ist, und zwei weiteren Gästen, zwei Experten aus dem Immobilienbereich. Wir wollen heute mal den Dubai- oder UAE-Immobilienmarkt beleuchten, und zwar aus einer anderen Perspektive. Und dazu haben wir eben zwei Fachleute eingeladen. Das ist einmal der Christian und einmal die Basra. Christian, vielleicht kannst du dich einmal kurz vorstellen. Du hast einen deutschen Background.
Ja, gerne. Also mein Name ist Christian, ich komme aus Hamburg, bin jetzt seit Juni 2022 in Dubai und bin auch gleich ins kalte Wasser des Real Estate geschmissen worden. Es ging nämlich damals darum, in einem mittelständischen Unternehmen in der Dubai Marina die Abteilung für das sogenannte Russlandgeschäft aufzubauen. Damals kamen nämlich sehr viele Immobilienkäufer aus Russland und seit kurzem, in diesem Jahr, haben wir uns selbstständig gemacht und deswegen sitze ich heute hier mit meiner Partnerin Basra.
Basra, maybe you could say a couple of words to you as a person.
My name is Basra Haider. I have resided in Dubai since 1998. I've been in real estate since 2008. Largely in positions I've held are in senior management, so as a sales director, general manager of a real estate company, and I have also been a professional trainer of agents. Many of these agents today have very successful careers and have their own real estate agencies, so I'm proud of that achievement.
Great, yeah. Thanks for having you here. Your company's name is The Estate Doc.
Yes.
So could you give us a brief explanation why maybe the name and some information about your company?
My partner, Christian, is a PhD, so he's actually Dr. Christian,
Yes.
I was told.
Correct.
And so that's where the name actually came from,
Okay.
being a real estate doctor. The idea was born, we're ex-colleagues as well. We had this conversation, I think when Christian was here about 2 years, and he was absolutely amazed, I can say this for you, that he was absolutely amazed at the real estate market and the dynamic, the demand there, the speed of real estate in Dubai. He was actually also frustrated because he felt as a German to even speak to his relatives, his brothers, his family, even about the idea of investing in real estate. He was feeling that he was not getting the requirement of information that he needed, because he's a very structured person and he needs, very organized way of getting information. So he felt that was lacking in Dubai. So that's where the idea came about, that we need to be able to cater to the Western mentality. They're not as forgiving about errors or mistakes, So
Correct.
because they are also demanding in that way. That's where it was actually born, the idea that we can provide information that is authentic, and we are the first source. We firsthand will get the experience and the knowledge ourselves, not just something we hear from somebody or we know general knowledge that's in the market. We find out ourselves firsthand. That's the most important thing, especially for international clients who have the barrier of not being here. So they need that detail of information.
Often the real estate purchase process might be also different compared to other countries, especially the Western, and from our point of view also especially the German-speaking clients, they are quite strict. They like to be guided in a very detailed way, so that's a very important aspect that you mentioned. In general, what kind of properties do you market in the UAE? Is it Dubai, which emirate? Is it pure Dubai? Is it also maybe Abu Dhabi? Where is your expertise and what kind of properties are you marketing in general?
So I think in order to do a good job, you really do have to specialize in Dubai now, because Dubai is huge. Our expertise, and we felt overall also the caliber of clients that we are receiving, which are largely high net worth individuals, they are, if you can afford it in Dubai, you buy seafront. So our specialty is in seafront property. Yes. Location is everything in Dubai. So it's location and reputation of developer, especially for off-plan. And so that's the first, and in fact, even in seafront, you have then direct beachfront, you have seafront, and you have sea view properties. So those three are broken down into that. And the most lucrative, safe investment would be beachfront property because they're not making any more beach. And it becomes very limited, and the demand is extremely high for this type of property in Dubai. Of course, then the second tier would be anywhere where there's a master development starting. For the mid-range client, we are very much excited about Expo City, which is near the new airport. So we do look at these. Dubai Land is also now getting a lot of attention. There's a lot of new master developments coming in. So if you get in early in a master development, which is done by a reputable developer, it's a very good investment in the long run.
Is there any kind of, don't know if we can say that, a range of property prices you are dealing in, like from to, based on your past sales?
I want to say that we are not dogmatics. Of course, if we find a good property that suits well the expectations of a client, we would also cater that to him. But of course, as Basra has already said, Dubai has a strong luxury segment, especially when it comes to seafront properties. So our tickets start basically, if you put it in US dollars, 1.5 million up to 10, 20, it depends, of course, what you're getting into.
You mentioned that initially already. The market in Dubai, especially the real estate market, is a very fast and dynamic market. Can you give us a brief overview about the current situation? So how do you see the current real estate market in Dubai?
Currently, I think the turnover is extremely high due to the activity in off-plan properties. So off-plan has taken a chunk of about 70%, a little bit higher than that, of the actual market activities happening. And with off-plan, there are the opportunists that come in for buying very early. If you buy a property early, then you will have the highest ROI, rental yield, once it's ready as well. So you'll enjoy that if you hold on to the property. And every phase of construction, then usually at about every 20% slab of construction, the price goes up. So you can easily hold a property for about 18 months, I would say minimum, realistically, though people are aggressive and sometimes they'll do it even at 6 months. But conservatively, I can say, you need about 18 months. And you can see a very nice return on your actual investment amount. So if a property is, let's say, $1 million, you put down 20% down on it, so that's $200,000. Within 18 months, you will most likely double your 20%. So you'll walk out with $450,000 on the property. So that is actually happening, especially with seafront properties. And luxury properties.
And I would like to add to that Dubai's real estate market is facing right now a significant upward traction. That means that if you just take a look at post-COVID period, you see that there's a tremendous growth in the market. Recently, I published a piece in the Neue Zürcher Zeitung, one of the biggest Swiss newspapers, on Dubai. And I also touched the development of the real estate sector. And I always say that right now, when it comes to investors from abroad, we are facing kind of a gold digger mentality, which reminds a little bit of the late 19th century in the American West, when all these people, the settlers, would go there in order to find gold. That's exactly what's happening right now. Basra has said it also, it's caused by off-plan. Because off-plan, the so-called primary market, offers an investor tremendous profits. Just take a look at the payment plans of the developers. If you get into a deal in the pre-launch phase and you make it to save money already in the purchase, and then you hold it for at least half a year, maybe 12 months, maybe even longer, then you can use the so-called economists will know what I'm talking about, the leverage effect. So this is something, what we call flipping in the market. These people are investors, they buy, they hold, they sell, and go further. So that creates a kind of enthusiasm amongst investors. And now at this point, the first objection usually hits people from abroad, especially from Germany, would ask, okay, what do you think, how long is this going to last? And my answer to that would be that it's going to last at least another 5 or 6 years, because the government has imposed the so-called Urban Master Plan 2040. So we are having here a political ruling elite which backs up the tremendous growth by inviting more people to come to Dubai. So one of the master goals of the urban plan is to increase the population of Quran amounting to 3.7 million to 5.86 million by 2040. That means that there will be a real demand for housing. If you take a look at the prior peaks happening in 2008 and 2014, when the downfall started, this was mainly caused by speculation. So there was a bubble. There's a golden rule. The amount of investors in regards to end users should not be higher than 30 to 70%. So if you can keep that, then the market will be stable. In 2023, the Dubai market was officially classified as very stable by UBS Swiss Bank. Now it has changed a little bit. It's now considered moderate, but still very, very, very solid. I think if you just keep in mind that we need an amount of at least 100,000 apartments a year in order to keep up with the announced goals by the government to go for almost 6 million people living in Dubai by 2040, you can see that there is a real demand for housing, and that offers absolutely amazing opportunities for everyone who is somehow involved, be it as an investor or someone who rents out a property or just someone who wants to flip.
You also mentioned this very important point. Each uptrend usually is followed by kind of a downtrend, and we had 2008. In your opinion, do you see something similar potentially? Could it happen again? If yes, why? Are we in a bubble? And if not, why not? Are there some measures put into place by the government which can, let's say, protect investors from these kind of circumstances happening again? What is your opinion on that?
Right now, as I told you already, the market in Dubai, Basra can elucidate on that more in detail later, is extremely regulated. So if you come from Germany, for instance, and you make the tremendous decision to invest in Dubai, it's not like it used to be maybe 20 years ago that you give money to a company and then you have to basically wait and hope that everything will be fulfilled as per the contract. So today the market is extremely well regulated. We have the Dubai Land Department in place. Developers have to work with escrow accounts. A payment plan has to be in place. The construction has to be assessed by the land department. So there's basically not much space for coincidences. Now, of course, there's always a force majeure. So if, let's say, there's going to be another pandemics, or maybe Iran will attack the UAE, which is not going to happen, I'm pretty sure about that, then of course you will have problems. But again, right now we are just seeing that more and more people come to Dubai. There is a real demand for housing. On top of that, you have a well-regulated market. It has matured significantly. You can see that also if you take a look at the square foot prices. Right now, the average off-plan apartment square foot price amounts to, I would say, 1.65 thousand. In June 2023, at the peak, it was 2,000. So the market has matured, and I think if you put that all together, then you will have a very stable environment for investment.
So if I can add to that, I think in 2008, I was here at the time as well when it happened. Yeah. And it was actually a global crisis that started in America, their financial, the mortgage system failing. I believe what happened in Dubai was that Dubai was remarkably the last hit. So it was America, and then it hit Europe, the crisis, and then it hit Dubai. Dubai was actually, basically at that time, was a market for real estate only. Now there's other industries that are doing quite well here. I was, so in areas, this is also why I like the seafront. I prefer seafront because at that time I remember I was working, specializing also in the Dubai Marina area and the Palm. What happened there was that many areas in Dubai took about 5 years or so to come back up. But in the Marina area, prices only fell about 30%. And the market in Marina the demand for property again started early, like in 2012. So in other areas, I would say it hit later, about 2014, 2015, where the market started to peak again. But Marina started much earlier because, again, it's seafront property. And the demand is always there for that. So if you are here and you cannot afford seafront, if something should happen to the market, suddenly you can afford it. So where are you going to buy? The number one location is seafront. So now it's affordable to you. So that demand is always there, even though the prices, I would say, settled at about 30% below pre-crash in 2008. 2016, in that time, what happened is that it was more gradual. The drop was more gradual.
Yes,
the market had progressed. People were now, even investors were more educated. Some had actually experienced the aggressive flipping it's kind of like playing musical chairs, that who's going to be left with it at that, at the little bit that was happening.
Yeah.
So there were winners and there were people that were, had to wait for the property in the market to change in order to be able to sell it. And some people panicked, they sold too early. There are many investors that I told them, just relax. What goes down goes up. So that's a personal decision when people decide to sell. The ones that held on, I think, were very happy with the results. Pre-COVID, at the time of COVID, of course, it was not a drop. It was global again. And things basically froze in Dubai, but I don't think that they went down. It's just the market had just stopped. So what happened at that time with projects such as, for example, Beachfront, I remember at that time you had a one-bedroom for 1.4, and that's only 5 years ago. And because of COVID, there were people that had invested in this area, and they now started to worry a little bit. Now, the seasoned investors were fine. That's okay, I wait, But then the newer sort of novice that had invested in that area started to panic. But this area, again, right post-COVID, shot up. Because the demand was incredible, because look at the property, the prime seafront property. And today you can say that if you had bought originally off plan or launch phase and have not sold it, though many people did sell, and it has maybe moved 4 or 5 different hands now due to the rapid appreciation, you're looking at probably about 250% or so of on your investment total amount, which is incredible. So that's an amazing example of how things work in Dubai. Now, I don't think that it will happen again in the same way, though again, off-plan is quite aggressive right now. But as Christian mentioned as well, the Sheikh's urban plan for 2040, it's sophisticated. It's not just about bringing in people. It is, I think it's already in the second phase. It's about infrastructure. It's about education, because, of course, if you're going to have all these people coming to Dubai, you need to make sure their children have education. So there's a shortage. There's long lists in schools right now that has to be taken care of. Also, the lifestyle, I think there's 60% of urban areas that will be dedicated to landscape. They're calling it a 20-minute city. So it has they want that European flair here, where you can get anywhere by bicycle. They'll have bike lanes everywhere. The Crown Prince is very much an athletic person, healthy person, sports person, so he does think in this way as well. Yeah. So all these things, and the Golden Visa as well is there. Very, very ease of setting up business now in Dubai, very different than it was 15 years ago or 10 years ago. It's become much, much easier. There's so many concessions for businesses as well. And the idea is to bring people here long term, to make this their home. This should be their base. Yeah. It is not something they're coming in for 4 years or for 2 years. Exactly. Long-term plan. And so with that, the demand, of course, for property is more stable.
If we divide Dubai into several parts, regions, me as an investor, what recommendation could you give to someone who's asking you, where could I potentially have a good investment currently, whether it's off-plan or also secondary market? What would be what could be an option considering the current development? Also, you mentioned Expo City, for example.
I think it's always nice to diversify. So it would depend on how much money that you are willing to invest. I think any buyer, any international buyer, regardless of whether he's buying a studio or buying a Palm Villa, is a sophisticated investor because he's purchasing outside his country. Mm-hmm. So we have to give them that respect and importance regardless of the budget. But of course, if you have the money, I would not put everything into one place. I would take some of that. And, for example, if somebody wanted a 4-bedroom, but they really have a requirement for a 2-bedroom, I would suggest something as in Expo, because it's a master development. It's already based on confirmed program for the airport, the Maktoum Airport, etc. So that would be something that I would say invest in that. And then, of course, if you have the money to purchase in a developed area such as Marina or now, for example, Dubai Harbor. Dubai Harbor, where Beachfront has shown, as mentioned earlier, the example of the appreciation, there is now Dubai Harbor. There are other areas in that area that are being developed. So there's Dubai Harbor Residence coming up. That's why Al Shamil. Al Shamil is a very reputable master developer. And so they have power. So already, before even the developments have started, they have approved, what do you call those, overbridges, highway, to link the traffic, saving about 15, 20 minutes of traffic. So it'll go directly from Dubai, overpass, sorry. So it's an overpass. It'll go right over to Sheikh Zayed Road. Incredible that they've been able to do this. This will add convenience of traffic, no traffic problems, whereas Marina does sometimes suffer from traffic problems. You won't have this in Dubai Harbor. You will have also now W Residence has been announced there, and Al Shamil themselves will be in the near future announcing a few more projects in this area. So you're in the marina. Marina is saturated. If you want a strong investment, go to a place like Dubai Harbor, or you would go, if you have the time frame and the money to invest, then you would go to Palm Jabal Ali. So these two places will give you the quality of life if you have the time to wait 3 years, 4 years, and it'll give you the best ROI, best capital appreciation. And you have a surety because it's Nakheel and the Palm, it's Al Shamil and Dubai Harbor that's developing it, and they both are very, very powerful master developers.
What are let's say, the most important factors for international buyers or investors, let's say, to invest in Dubai? So what do they need to consider?
Yeah, well, it always depends what kind of a buyer you have, right? So let's say the end user is mostly a client that wants a retirement home or a holiday home. Retirement home would mean that he would entirely shift to Dubai to live here permanently.
Yeah.
Someone who wants just a holiday home would be only for a few months of the year. So the one who goes for, let's say, a retirement home, for him, of course, quality would be very important. I mean, we have several hundreds of developers right now in Dubai, and we recommend only a few of them because the quality must be very good. Of course, everyone does great things, and I'm not talking about that. I just mean that Europeans, which is our clientele, obviously, that they have certain expectations, I would put it that way. And in order to fulfill that need, I think that these people look for quality. They shift with their family, with their wives, maybe even with their grandchildren, who knows. So for them, the environment is also important. They need infrastructure. They just do not need only a nice house, they need it to be integrated in a good environment. So you need, as Basra said already, you need amenities, you need schools, maybe you need doctors, and all of that. Of course, malls is important, and a good connection to the roads. All of these things account, right? So a German a German client would go for a villa, but most likely not in Deira, more on the Palm, for instance.
Yeah.
So if you have, on the contrary, someone who just says, okay, I want to be in Dubai only for 2 or 3 months a year, and then I want to rent out my property, then obviously all before mentioned factors still play a role, but not as, of course, important, not as strong as in the first case, because these people want to get a good ROI. So for them, of course, other factors are important. And if you have then the investor who just wants to flip, so for him it would be important, when can he get into the deal? What is the profit he can expect? Is there a hype in the area happening? This is very important also, because if you want to anticipate the value growth of a property, of a certain building, then you need to be aware what is happening around, right? Also other factors, how many units are in one building, because if someone wants to sell after 10 months or 12 months, it's better for him rather if the amount of people who do the same at the same time is less. So there are various aspects which have to be considered. Basra, do you think I missed out on something important?
No, you've pretty well covered it. The thing is that, like Christian said, it depends on the investor's end goal. Just to keep it largely in place, if you're looking for a steady income, such as the rental income, if you're obviously willing to wait for the higher income by buying off-plan or under construction to get in early, that's a type of property is slightly different. It's more like a mid-level kind of investment. High-end, seafront, luxury properties will not give you a high ROI, but they will definitely give you the capital appreciation. So if you're looking at buying and then selling in 5 years or 10 years or even 3 years, go for something like that, especially if you want also to use it for family and for retirement, etc. But if you're looking for just ROI, because on average luxury properties give you 4 or 5% as a rental return, little bit higher if you're doing it as a holiday home. But with holiday home, if you're using it yourself, you have to deal with the wear and tear of a holiday home as well. That's the reality of it.
Yeah.
And it's luxury properties. So many will buy in areas like JVC, Dubai land, places like this for the ROI, which will be that they hold on to it and they'll get rental return. And due to the tax benefits of Dubai, you can buy 4 or 5 properties like this, in different areas and diversify your portfolio and then ensure that you always have an income regardless of what happens in the market.
I have seen there are a lot of agents who are marketing or promoting, especially JVC, what you just mentioned. What is your opinion on JVC, if we can name it, as this specific area for an investment for foreign investors? What do you think about JVC in general?
JVC area is now getting saturated, meaning that most of the properties are getting ready or close to finishing. So then now you have secondary market, and secondary market even in the off-plan, which means that it's already was bought at an early stage by somebody who's willing to now offload it at their profit and let you enjoy the balance of the profit on it. So in JVC, it is very, very saturated. I would say if you're going to buy now in JVC, it's very, very important that you pick a project that is of high quality, because that is actually a little bit limited in JVC. There's a few developers, a handful of developers. There's some nice smaller developers. The Russian developers are doing a very good job as well. Other than that, you have somebody like, for example, Ellington. They've always had a very good reputation. They were one of the earlier developers in JVC, so their buildings are even slightly older, but they're very well maintained, I have to say. That's important. The second thing is, if you're investing now, there is a shortage of villas because there aren't that many villas in JVC. There are many, many apartments now. So a villa would probably be a better investment right now due to the demand there will be for that. So that's the way I would look at it, overall. Then also now you've got Arjan, you've got Dubai land, and you've got even Science Park. So if you want to get in early, and the highest, I think Bengati has a very good project that they've come up with in Science Park. This is a surety, this area, if you're willing to wait, because the government's already started to develop there, the Science Park.
Are there any specific regulations or processes that investors need to know before investing in Dubai in real estate?
In Dubai real estate, it's quite, again, as Christian had said, it's quite regulated now. Before a developer could come in with, they didn't need so much money. They could rely on the investors' money, etc. But now there are laws put in to ensure that they will continue the construction, regardless if there's any kind of hiccup in the industry like COVID, etc. That's not going to affect all the developments. Developer has to have 20% of the money of the total value, either already in the escrow account or have, fully paid plot or have a bank guarantee against the 20%, etc. So that's there. The escrow account is very strict. Only the contractor can invoice, and now the invoice goes to the land department, has to get a stamp before it can be withdrawn from the escrow account. So there's things that are very, very tight there. For an investor, I think it is important that even with off-plan, with most developers, it require an agent in between, a real estate agent, because for international investors, developers are so busy. And their agents, though, are often available for a sale, but the after sale is a little bit lacking. So if you have an agent who's representing you or helping you with your portfolio, they're going to be able to go and spend the day at the customer service to make sure you get this slight oversight of a paper or a receipt or something that is missing. So these, or a statement doesn't seem clear to you, etc., and they're taking their time to respond to you, your agent will do all that for you. So I think the agent's value, sometimes the investor feels, well, I don't need the agent, I can go directly to the developer. You can, but you will feel it after. You will not get that special treatment. And I think it's largely because most developers, they're just so busy, and the agents that are working for developers, let's call them consultants, are not always as well experienced as some of the more senior agents in the market that can manage a portfolio for you and take care of these problems. I had one client, I can give you an example quickly. He had purchased, will not mention the developer, but had purchased with a very, very, I would say, top 10 developers, and he was in his 7 months, and he had not been able to get his accrued registration, which by law has to be done within 60 days. He didn't know this. So when he had come to us at that time, he said, he was purchasing from actually one of my agents. I was a director at this company, and I told him very simply, you tell him, call their finance, you tell them that by law, they're already 5 months late in registering. And once they know that you also know this, and within 2 weeks, he got got his Akud, and he came in, he thanked me, brought me sweets, and it was such a simple, straightforward thing. This was like an example of, something that should have been done without even an agent's help. It wasn't done. So these kinds of situations do happen. Let's be realistic. And so you do need, when you can, the agent. And of course, property lawyers are also very valuable in all of this.
What is also amazing is the implication that if you purchase off-plan, being abroad, you don't even have to come to Dubai to do that, right?
Yes, that is actually a huge benefit for people that are very busy. Money goes directly to the developer. Never give your money to an agency. You don't need to for a direct primary property. This is a safety net. The money is transferred. Usually it's 20% right now is standard. 4% you have to pay now for the Dubai Land Department registration. This is for your protection. You will receive the paper, which is called an Akud paper, which is basically a pre-title deed. And this is also for your protection. Now you are the owner. You have a partnership with the developer. This then payment is done. You then receive the SPA from the developer. It comes to you. Now, most major developers don't make changes. So you like it, you sign it, you don't like it, okay? But smaller developers will sometimes make amendments or add something for you. Yeah. It's important to read these things. And I will tell you another quick example where an investor had purchased a property before coming to me, and he had received a discount because it was the model unit. But they had written there that it would be given to him once it was no longer required. Handover happened, and they still had about 25 units left, so they would not hand him over his unit because they needed it to show as a show apartment still. I said, well, you didn't put a date, so now it could go on for 3 years. You will lose your rent for 3 years on this property. So I did actually help him, and I spoke to the developer again, knowing my legal knowledge that I have, and that sort of deters them, and we did come to a conclusion, and he was able to receive it within by September, which is the highest season to rent your apartment. So this is where the agent again comes in. You do need a professional agent to help you.
Just a quick one. I think the biggest difference to Germany, where everything is, of course, written in stone, crystal clear outline, right? Here, you have to be aware of the process. That's also our job, of course, to elucidate on that. But you have to know how to solve problems. And this is about mentality, and it's about experience. The way how you approach a developer, how you speak to someone in the sales office. And Basra is actually a person, we hear that permanently, who does that in an absolutely amazing way, because she has been here for so long. And she knows exactly, she feels literally, I can say, where there might be a problem, and she knows exactly how to loosen the nut in order to to solve a problem. And this is something which is a strong I think asset of ours, right?
I think it also is that I've been able to, over the years, understand culturally professional ways of working. I won't say ethics because we're all professionally ethical, but culturally there are differences in how we operate business. And so when you are speaking to the person and you know their background, their language, their nationality, etc., and you know their frame of mind, you're able to address them in that way and get something done. What I find with newer agents as well sometimes is that they're coming from only their own perspective, and they're trying to make a person who has no exposure to their perspective to understand their perspective, which can sometimes create the complications. So when you become sort of empathetic to the other person's way of thinking, you're able to be a little bit higher, not on an equal level, but to address them in that way. They understand better what the challenge is and how to help you solve the problem.
And I believe also over the years, most likely you have established quite valuable contacts also in the real estate market, I assume,
yes.
Which also may help you sorting problems for your clients, or maybe also for others if they approach you, I believe.
Absolutely. Right? So the fun part is that in my career, I've probably managed and trained about 1,000 different agents. Many of them are in very senior positions. Sometimes, I'll call agents, you're a developer, etc., and I may not even recognize their name, but they know me. So they'll be like, oh, Basra. I'm like, Ahmad. I'm like, who? Ahmad who? Yeah. And so they'll remind me, I worked for you in 2000. So this is definitely there. So it's helped me. I do have a very good reputation with the developers. I have very good contacts with very senior people. I can get things. I've had, in very high demand, such as Miraz and Emaar, etc. Sometimes it's very difficult to get in for even, you have the money, you have everything, but the queue finishes, so there's only so many units to sell. So in this way, I think I have, because of my experience and my exposure, a little bit more influence, if you can say, because, at the end of the day, the agent wants to answer. Christian asked me that earlier. He goes, why would not a consultant answer any agent? Because it could be business for them. It's because when you have 20 and you only have an hour, you have to decide which agents you're going to address and answer or, respond to on WhatsApp, and which agents you're not sure are going to be that serious with their clients. So you go for those 4 or 5 that are a sure thing. And they're professional, they know how to work, they're going to get you the money. So then they give you that hour, they give you that time.
So we have discussed the past market, the current market, real estate market. So let's quickly discuss the future. How does the future real estate market look like in Dubai? What do you think? What is your opinion?
Yeah, I see. As an academic and a researcher, I don't like to give predictions because nobody knows what is going to happen. But based on the facts and the data we are having at this moment, and as I said initially, I'm pretty confident that the market growth will last at least another 7 years. Of course, there might be some unforeseen smaller events that can always happen. That recently in Ras Al Khaimah, there's a huge development happening. I don't know if you guys have heard about it. So there's going to be the first casino, not only in the UAE, but in the whole MENA region. It's located on an artificial archipelago called Al Murjan. Of course, that will catch a lot of attractions from international investors. So these things happening around Dubai, I always remind the clients that Dubai is just one of the 7 Emirates. That can, of course, distract a little bit, but still, as long as I think the trust of the international investors is there. And I just checked my records, actually. In 2022, Dubai ranked on the 2nd place of countries which received the largest amount of direct foreign investments. I mean, and this is a strong factor, that proves just that there's a huge amount of trust. And as long as this is going to last, and the government will significantly back up this development, coming back to the urban plan, which is much more than just real estate, I think as long as this is going to be in place, there shall be no significant worry about any kind of bubble, bursting or something.
I think that's the biggest fear, this bubble thing from 2008.
So I'd like to add to that. Dubai is considered extremely safe as an investment. And though the prices have gone up probably in the last 5 years, and sometimes I get a client, they'll say, oh, I'm too late. Still, when you look at comparable, for example, any other major city, and Dubai is now considered a major city, is definitely headed that way to be atop with New York and London and Hong Kong, etc. If you're buying, for example, a 2-bedroom seafront property in Dubai, and you're buying a 2-bedroom seafront property in New York, you're still at about 30%. And, you're paying 30% of what you would pay in New York. So the potential for growth until the city, Dubai, is fully saturated is still huge. So you're looking at maybe if you're purchasing now, in 10 years from now, you'll be at that point of New York, for example. That's why it's so safe. It doesn't matter if you buy now and if you have a dip for 2 or 3 years. You've seen the history of Dubai. So if you want to know the future, look at the past, right? So what has happened in every crisis, the international market, you see it online, etc. in the news, Dubai is finished, Dubai is gone, Dubai is done, COVID, Dubai, and you see what the sheikh and what the leadership of Dubai does. You just have faith in that, and some of the realtors now, the biggest realtors in Dubai had that faith because they'd been around. I've been around since 1998. I've seen how he handles crises over and over again. It's absolutely remarkable. If there's any kind of dip, for example, I remember at one time, I won't again mention names and nationalities, but what he will do is he will open the gates for visas to a certain nationality that maybe were closed, and you get 2-3 million, and you've got the rentals going back up, you've got the property sales going back up. So there's this strategy in place that is always there. 2020, Expo 2020, do you remember what they were saying about Dubai when it was delayed by 1 year? Because, we can see what he does is remarkable. So have faith in that.
What is also important, Dubai is not just about real estate, right? So Dubai is also an international traffic hub. Dubai is extremely strong when it comes to services. People think always Dubai petroleum, oil. I mean, you know, the peak was reached in the mid-90s, right, when Dubai was still making lots of money from that one.
Yeah.
But it has decreased to 2%. So the strength, the economical strength of Dubai is basically due to a group of industries which are significant today. That's why there's no way around Dubai anymore. You know, we spoke about the Al Maktoum airport, which is a cargo airport still, you know.
Yeah.
But just have a look at the Dubai International. 90 million passengers a year, the second busiest airport in the world, and they will just at least double that traction. I mean, there's so many factors basically determining Dubai as the place to be in the Middle East right now. That gives, of course, stability and trust, and it's the most important thing.
And again, the trend now is moving away from that. So it's not just the place to be in the Middle East, it's the place to be in the world.
Yeah,
great.
and that's
True.
a big difference.
If I would say 10
Yes.
years ago, yes, it was the place to be in the Middle East, but I have witnessed this change, and it just goes from strength to strength. You can be as negative as you want, you just can't defy the facts.
Thank you very much to both of you. Thank you, Christian and Basra, for these
you.
very, very valuable, deep insights about the real estate market. Basically, that's the end of the video. Wenn euch das Video gefallen hat, dann gebt uns gerne ein Like, kommentiert gerne, abonniert den Kanal und wenn ihr Interesse an Firmengründung habt oder auch am Immobilienmarkt interessiert seid, dann meldet euch gerne bei uns und wir stellen dann den Kontakt zu den beiden Experten her.